Springfield's rock station Q102. I am very excited for this interview because, like you, I've been listening to these guys since the early 90s. They've got a show coming up June 13th at the Ozarks Amp with Barenaked Ladies. That's going to be a great night. But I'm excited to welcome Tony from Fastball to Q102. Now, Tony, you guys have been around since, I think, 92. For some listeners who might not know much about the band Fastball, how did you guys get your start?
Well, we'd all been in a few bands already, and Joey and Miles were in a band together called Big Car out of Austin, Texas. They put out a record on Giant Records in the early 90s, way early, like 90. And, that sort of didn't happen like they thought it would, and they went their separate ways, and I met Joey in that period in Austin. And Miles, he suggested that we try to do something with Miles, the three of us. And we got together right away and just started working on songs. I had a few songs, Miles had a few songs. Next thing you know, we were booking gigs, and we had a lot of friends in the Austin music scene, but not just the music part, but writers at the paper, and some of those writers freelanced and they did some national stuff like CMJ, which was the college music journal. We got a few good reviews on some demos we recorded, and next thing you know, we had a couple of guys from Blvd Records show up at one of our shows in Austin at the Hole in the Wall, and it was Rob Seidenberg and Julian Raymond, and I happen to know Julian Raymond. These guys both work for Blvd Records, and they had come out specifically to see us. We played our show, had a little talk, agreed to meet up in New York during the CMJ conference, where we were invited to play a couple of gigs, and I don't know if they still have that, but it's sort of like a South by Southwest situation where they showcase new bands, and that's what we did, and we got our record deal that way. And it took another couple of years. We put out an album and nothing happened. We weren't sure if we were going to be able to make another record on Hollywood, but we put out this record, Make Your Mama Proud, and it didn't really do very well. And then we started working on another record, and that record came out in spring of 98, and it was called All the Pain Money Could Buy. It had The Way on it, and Out of My Head, and Fire Escape, and so the radio started playing The Way, and things just sort of snowballed really quickly, and next thing you know, we're on the radio all over the place.
I kind of mentioned it earlier, but Fastball has been out on the road since the 90s. Is there a favorite tour or moment that stands out being out on the road?
I don't know how I'd be able to pick that out of 31 years of being a band. Everything is pretty amazing when you're playing in front of a lot of people. Say we played the World Expo 98 in Lisbon, Portugal, to about 20,000 people. That was pretty amazing. We've met a lot of people that we admire over the years. We've worked with a lot of great musicians and producers. We've made videos. We've become friends with people all over the world. And no, I can't single out one. It's the most difficult to answer.
Since we're talking about being out on the road, what's one essential item that you have to take on tour with you?
I'm kind of hesitant to admit it, but what the hell? I'm 61 years old. I have to bring my CPAP. How about that?
I mean, you got to do what you got to do. I mean, we've had answers like butt wipes and all kinds of weird stuff, so that's pretty normal.
Butt wipes are helpful, yeah.
So Tony, Fastball has had some really great music videos over the years. One of my favorites, though, is one of the newer music videos for the song Hummingbird off of the album Sonic Ranch. How did that concept of that video come to be? And how fun was it to be a part of it?
We didn't have to do very much. Caroline LeDuc is a friend of ours from Los Angeles who's a film director and a photographer. She's also kind of an artist herself using those mediums. She's really creative and really great. She happened to know that woman who skates in the video, and she's on a couple other videos. She's kind of got a name for herself, lots of followers on Instagram, and apparently she can skate on any surface, which is the tail fin of an old DC-3 is pretty amazing. And Caroline just went to the airplane museum somewhere in the desert in California, and they shot all that stuff. She had some footage of us from the studio that she just threw in there, and that's how we get our images actually into the video. And, it was pretty simple. We didn't cost a lot. Not like the old days. We loved it, and we really had very little to do with its creation. She's great, Caroline LeDuc. is her name.
So the newest album, Sonic Ranch, it came out last year. It is amazing from start to finish. What was that recording process like for you guys?
We put out a lot of records on our own in the last few years without too much input from anybody else. And this is the first time since really the 90s that we worked with a bunch of different people. So we're working with a producer named David Garza, who's done a lot of stuff with all kinds of people, namely Fiona Apple, who's a great artist, and we've also known him forever. So using him, he's an old friend, and he's also super creative, and he also works at a great studio called Sonic Ranch, which we love to work at. It's out in the middle of West Texas. Not much going on out there, so you concentrate on your work, and you basically, that's it. You know, it's a big focus thing. But then it's not just us, the producer, it's the record label. We actually got on a record label for this record, and we men and women at Sunset Boulevard Records had a lot of input in like picking which songs to throw on the album, helping with the sequencing, even suggesting the title. We were wanting to just call it Fastball. We love that idea, but you know, the label wanted to call it something else. So one of them suggested Sonic Ranch, and I just thought, that's great. It's perfect title because it helps out the studio in a way. It gives publicity to them, and that's what it is. It's a Sonic Ranch, and I'm glad you all like it.
I really do love that album. Now, Tony, Fastball has a concert coming up here in the 417 at Ozarks Amp with Barenaked Ladies on June 13th. For some of us who have not been to a Fastball concert, seen you guys live yet, what should we expect on June 13th?
Well, normally we play about 90 minutes when we are on the road at a given gig. That's a Fastball gig. But since we're opening up the show for Barenaked Ladies, our set is truncated. It's going to be, 30 minutes, basically. So they're going to get mostly songs they've heard and a couple of new ones. But for the most part, it's a quick on and off. That's what you get.
We definitely have that one circled on our calendar. Now, Tony, if our listeners want to keep up with Fastball, where can they get all the details on the band for news, tour dates, and all that?
They can go to our Instagram, they can go to our Facebook, or they can go to fastballband.com, or they could check out our Patreon, which is actually down for a temporary time right now. We've paused it, but we plan on getting that back up. It's easy enough to find all that stuff through any one of our social media platforms and the website.
Well, Tony, it was an absolute pleasure catching up with you today, my friend, and we're looking forward to seeing you June 13th at the Ozarks Amp with Barenaked Ladies.
All right, fantastic. Have a great day, and hopefully we'll see y'all out at Ozarks Amphitheater.
Tony from Fastball here on Springfield's rock station, Q102.
What's the word, hummingbird? What's those voices that you've heard? Spend your days running around. It just brings you down. It just brings you down. You've seen the Taj Mahal at night, and you've seen the Emerald Isle. You've seen the Valley of the Kings and Queens, and you've sailed down